Go. Welcome everybody joining us for today's Student Engagement Forum. There's a number of people coming in at the moment, and we'll just give it a few minutes as a variety of people join us. So bear with us. Hope you're all having a good last day of term. We're having a rather interesting day here with lots of big news, which if you've seen FE Week, you might have picked up that the new FE Commissioner will be our current CEO, Sheila Le Grave. So we're in a bit of shock that we're losing her, but really great for the sector to have her. Yeah, so hopefully that'll bring great things to FE. She's a massive champion of student voice. So as FE Commissioner, hopefully, I'm sure she'll bring lots to the table. So we're just letting people in as we speak now. Welcome everybody. I'm hoping to see Lloyd Perry and Brian from Bournemouth and Poole come and join us very soon. So Lloyd's coming in now. Lloyd, that's fantastic. Welcome everybody. Like I say, those of you who are joining us for this next Student Engagement Forum today, we're focusing on student voice structures and measuring the impact, and I'm really grateful to Lloyd Perry and Brian from Bournemouth and Poole College, who are going to talk to you today about their structure and approach. And then my very own student experience team are going to share with you what they do. So I hope that it will be useful to you all. So let's just bear with me while we've still got a number of people coming in. You know what, it takes a little while on these things to join. I'm just going to make sure that Lloyd is co-host, Lloyd, so that we can get you able to do. There we go.
Hi everyone.
Hi Lloyd, thank you so much. Great to see you, Lloyd. Thank you so much for joining us.
No worries at all.
So we're just we've got 25 people in the room with us already. My experience of these tend to increase. I'm just going to give it a minute or two. Hopefully you're all enjoying your last day of term. Like I said, it's a bit of an interesting day for us here today. But hopefully all good. I'm just going to give it a minute. Lloyd, are you sharing your screen?
It's going to be Brian. Brian's got the tech.
Brian's got the text.
I've got the words. Let
me find Brian so that I can make him a co-host. This technological. We've got a load of people waiting in the room. Is Brian with us already?
Should be.
Okay. Welcome to everyone joining us and entering the room at this point. We are just waiting. There's a whole host of people coming in. We'll begin in just a few minutes. Welcome today. We're up to 35 into joining us today. Lloyd, I can't see Brian on the list. So
let me just check. He is. I've literally just left a meeting with him, so I know he was joining straight away.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he was. I'm sure we're all running from one tech meeting to another. Mickey, can you please pick up that call and tell them we're online? Okay, we're still getting to people coming into the call, so bear with me a second. We will begin in a minute. I'm just waiting to be able to add another co-host. No. Okay. We're nearly there. We're up to 40 participants. Welcome everybody to our next Student Engagement Forum. We'll be delighted to be talking about student voice structures today. I'm delighted that Lloyd and Brian from Bournemouth and Poole College are going to talk about their approaches to student voice in just a second. I can see Brian's joining us now, which means that's great. You will have a presentation, Lloyd. Okay, so bear with me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so there are still people joining us, but I'm very conscious of time. I know Lloyd and Brian do have to go somewhere else. They very kindly agreed to present first. So Brian, I have made you a co-host, so hopefully you can share your screen. And then again, just to reiterate my absolute thanks to Lloyd and Brian for coming along to this Student Engagement Forum today. to share their practice on student voice structures. Bournemouth and Poole are very successful at student voice, and I'm always looking at them to see if I've missed a trick. So, Lloyd, I keep an eye. But I'm really delighted they've come along to share today, and hopefully we'll have time to ask the questions. So I'm going to stop talking now. You have the floor, Lloyd and Brian, and thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Lisa. It's great to be here. Hello, afternoon, everybody, on this final day of what's been, I'm sure, a really challenging return to site for many. So it's great to be here. Just to do some introductions, I'm hedging a little bit while I'm hoping Brian is, there we go. You see, perfect. If I just do some introductions, my name's Lloyd Perry. I'm the head of student support. So within my remit is our student voice and student engagement team. And I'm joined on the line by Brian, who I'll let Brian introduce himself. Brian, are you there?
Sorry, I'm not used to Zoom anymore. Hi, my name is Brian Stewart, and I'm the Student Engagement Coordinator for Bournemouth and Poole College.
So what we're going to do, we've got about half an hour. So Brian and I are going to talk you through what we do at Bournemouth and Poole College in relation to student voice, what our staffing is, and how we engage with our students. So we've got about 20 minutes of content to share through between us, how we kind of approach student voice. And then we've allowed a good 10 minutes for any questions, anything that you might want to ask us about, you know, how we've set up student voice. Just to give some context, we've been very lucky at Bournemouth and Poole. We've had a lot of investment in the way of support from our college exec team. So equally, Brian and the team have done a lot of work to really put student voice at the heart of what our college senior leadership team are discussing, and also to make sure that that's reflective of what students want us to discuss. In true student voice style, we thought we'd start off with a video, and we thought we would hand this over to Zach, who is our current Student Union President. So Zach's just going to give you a virtual online welcome as well, just to demonstrate the impact that Zach's had as Student Union President at the college. We shared the sound, Brian.
Can you hear that?
No.
Oh, do I have to do something? Sorry, again.
Okay. When you show your screen, screen, you might need to unshare and then just click the share audio too.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. This is literally my life, with everyone telling me how to do stuff, honestly.
Share sound.
Big build up as a welcome from Zach that we can't hear.
Absolutely. Right, should be at this time. There we go.
Brilliant.
Hi, I'm Zach Rumble, and I'm the Student President at Bournemouth and Poole College. Our Student Executive Committee is made up of a team of officers, vice presidents, and the president. The Student Executive Meeting is in charge of taking feedback from students about student experience and then forming action plans to combat this, as well as our own campaign ideas.
What's happened there? This is not. To apologize.
This is Vice President and the President. The Student Executive Meeting is in charge of taking feedback from students about student experience and then forming action plans to combat this, as well as our own campaign ideas. Some of the events that the Student Executive Committee has run include Freshers' Fair, Social Responsibility Days, and general open events. Over the coronavirus period, we have been doing a lot of online sessions, including partnering up with our student support team to deliver 2 of a 5-day session period that runs every week. During this session, people can join and meet the BPCSU team. Myself have been included in these sessions, as well as a few members of my team. Through the Student Executive Committee, I have gained skills such as public speaking, time management, and management of a team in general. My time in the Student Union has been unparalleled to any other experience I have taken, and I am so glad that I have been elected to this position. Thank you so much for NAMS for allowing Bournemouth and Poole College the opportunity to present our Student Union models at the forum. Thank you from me and everyone from the Student Union. Take care and goodbye.
So that was just a little welcome there from Zach. Zach's been our Student Union President for a year. That's a non-paid role. So he has been studying alongside his commitments, and he's been a really, really highly successful president. Last year, he was our vice president, and I think, you know, we all know the kind of skills and the wider development that students can access from being part of Student Voice. What are we going to cover today? We're going to cover the student engagement team. So we're going to share our model of staffing and students. We're also going to share our Voice, Our College model, which is our student voice model. We're going to talk a little bit about our Voice, Our College conference, because this year we've had to do it online and we want to share some of the success around that. How we engage students also on a wider level throughout the college. And then, as I say, we've got some good time at the end for any questions that you might have. Brian, over to you.
Okay, so this is our team. So obviously at the head of student support, Lloyd is overall in charge of the strand. Then myself, I coordinate the team with 2 other members of staff. So my main responsibilities are around student voice, student activities, student events, and general cross-college engagement as well. I do have a student engagement officer whose main responsibilities are around the student voice models and engaging students through that. We also have a student experience apprentice academy, and as part of that, one of the apprentices comes under my team, and his main responsibilities are around keeping the website up to date and doing some of our kind of social media and other engagement activities. So I just want to go through first. So at Bournemouth and Poole College, we have a very kind of different model to what you would maybe think is a normal model. So just to go through some of those differences. So we currently don't have any program reps within our 16 to 18 cohort. And that's because all students participate in what we call Our Voice, Our College. And that model works through our personal development tutor provision, which is embedded throughout the students' timetables in order for that to actually take place. We also work with our hard to reach areas to ensure that engagement. So that's through ESOL, HE, apprentices and foundation, and all of these areas have bespoke packages for that area. We have 3 weeks throughout the year. So those 3 weeks are 1 per term, and again, they go through the personal development tutor program, which is embedded throughout our curriculum. We would then have a You Said We Did portal, which is hosted on our website, which was launched at the start of this year. And this makes things accessible to students whenever they want it and whenever they're wanting to have a look at that information. So this is our model here. So the Our Voice, Our College week would take place, like I said, 3 times per year, and it would also go through the PDTs. Now, what would happen is all students would participate in the week, so whether they are 16 to 18, 19 plus, or whether they are HE, they would take place in some form of fashion. Now, what we would then do is we would then collect all that feedback that comes through the Our Voice, Our College week, which is usually a survey that students would then carry out and take place in. once that is done, all the information comes to my team, who would then create within a week, usually a you said we did on student first, and then from there we would take the top three themes from that week. So whatever it is that the students are saying isn't necessarily the best, or anything that they're talking about across college, we would then take that as a theme and create a focus group. So what would happen is, once we've created the focus group, all that then goes back to the next personal development tutor week. So they would then be getting some you said we did straight actions as soon as the week is over, but then they would also be invited to a focus group for that theme as well. So some of the themes that we've had so far are IT services, progression, academic targets, and also working on a new online platform for engaging students through Student First. So then what happens is, once all that is done, we would then formulate a board report that goes to the student executive team as well as the Board of Governors. Now, it is probably key to note here that the 3 focus groups take place independently, but are also sponsored by a member of our SLT. So at every single one of our focus groups, we will have a member of SLT leading that, in order for students to feel that it's a senior manager who is then going to take those actions forward. Once it's all done, we formulate an action plan, which then BPCSU would then track and hold the manager who held that focus group responsible to keep those actions. So this is some of the engagement that we've had through the model so far. So in autumn term, we've had 2,691 students participate. We've had 1,635 website views, 268 social media hits, and the 3 focus groups were enrolment, BPCSU online platforms, and academic targets. In the spring term, we had 3,255 students participate, 1,223 website views, 398 social media hits, and then the 3 focus groups were improving IT, understanding progression, and maths and English. Okay, so the next, so that's the week. So what happens throughout the weeks mainly is we would have all of this activity that goes on, and we also have the bespoke sessions for the other areas as well. Now, this all leads up to the conference. Now, we hold every year an annual Our Voice, Our College conference, and this year the conference was done completely online because of the pandemic, and the week, everything that happens throughout the first 2 weeks then is kind of formulated into the conference. And although it's an independent week, and this year it was done fully for a week, we track everything so that we can then feed back through that conference what has happened throughout the year so far. We also give out a questionnaire to all students, and they then pick the sessions that they want at the conference. So the top 5 sessions are selected. Managers from these departments deliver an interactive workshop. This year it was online, and then we invite all students to participate. So the sessions that took place were student support, learning support, teaching and learning, advice and guidance, and employability. Now, all of these sessions were done on Teams. They were done through a webinar style session, and we made them interactive through Jamboards and different other multimedia interactive content. Now, the other thing for this is that we also added every single student to this Microsoft team, which is the first time that we've ever done that at Bournemouth and Poole College. and it was a learning, and it was very successful, and we are really excited that we managed to kind of do that for the conference and give students that opportunity, like every single student at the college, that opportunity to then be at the conference. So during the conference week, some of the stuff that we did, so the students were able to attend all the sessions that I spoke about a moment ago. We also hosted 2 motivational speakers. So Paul McGee, the sumo guy who spoke about students and strategies to overcome hard times. Nick Elston, who again was talking about his first-hand experience of mental health and how to keep moving forward. We also had the NUS president, Larissa Kennedy, and we were supposed to have the VP of FE as well to attend the conference, and she spoke around like the current NUS campaigns, and it was really exciting and engaging for students, and it was really good, and we're really honoured to have the NUS present because it gave our students a bit more about the national movement. Student support team also continued our Little Things Matter at BPC, which allows students to talk and have kind of fun at different sessions. So this was a framework that we put on in January, that basically every single day there was something for students to do. So this was things like morning workouts. It was the student union did a BBCA meet and eat, so that was kind of come in and kind of like have a chat. Then the student support team also did a guided talk with a mental health coach that was around kind of like how they felt around COVID in a group setting, which was really well received. Okay, so once the week is over, we would then report on the conference, and all the sessions were created in conjunction. All the actions were created in conjunction with students. So what we mean by that is that whilst the sessions were going on, we were interacting with students, finding out what it was that they wanted as an action for that. So each session created 2 short-term, 2 medium-term, and a long-term action. And then we would then track that throughout the year through my team. We also created, you said we did portal for the conference in order to report all this back to students whenever they need to find the information. We've also created a short animated video that basically allows students to see this more interactively, and instead of going through a 40-page document, they can go through a 5-6 minute video that then tells them all the information that they need to know in an engaging way. So the impact of our conference, we had 842 students engage fully with the conference. We had 886 website hits throughout the week. We had 735 social media hits, 25 actions were created, and that was again through by students and staff, and the breakdown is on the screen now. Yeah, so that's how our student voice models work, and how we do a lot of our kind of student voice. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to Lloyd now, who's going to go through the next part, which is our other engagement methods.
Brilliant, thanks, Brian. I'm conscious of time because I want to allow enough time for questions. So we'll probably whisk through this a little bit quicker. Obviously, you'll have the slides, and we're happy to circulate those, and we'll put our emails in the chat as well. So if you want to pick up any aspect, we engage students in other ways. We have events throughout the year, such as social responsibility days, our volunteering week. We have our dedicated student first website as well, and that's really revolutionized. I think that's been one of the real key drivers of improving our student voice model and engaging more students. as I say, the community days, we can focus on things like community responsibility, volunteering opportunities, as well as things such as green impact, which we know is a really important element. You can see some of the impact of the events there as well. We're particularly pleased with Volunteering Week, and again we were moving the model from a programme rep-led model, which is where we were 2 years ago, to all students being reps, has actually meant that engagement and impact of student voice across the college has really increased. And I'm sure, you know, our model before this one was very much around, you know, training up the programme reps, a selected amount of students, and then there's a lot of reliance on those small cohorts of students to really make the model work. So that's why we changed it, and that's why we broadened it. You'll see some of the impact there, as I say, and we've created a green opportunities strand of the student union as well, which has been really, really positive as well. We also have a range of different ways of messaging students, and that's been developed through social media and also through digital signage on site. And the student engagement team, the student union, are responsible for those messagings. We do all student emails every month, so that's promoting positively what's going on with the student union, also promoting surveys, our Voice Our College Week, the conference, and the student union and student engagement teams link in for a wider student experience newsletter. So the student union leads on that. It may well cover a whole range of different support elements, but that is led by Zach, and Zach does a weekly kind of address to the nation, if you like, updating on the work that himself and the exec have been doing that previous week. I think the Student First website's mine, but it might be yours, Brian, but I'll carry on now, I'm on a roll. The Student First website's absolutely critical for our relaunch, if you like, of Student Voice. We rebranded, relaunched, that was all student-led, so students came up with the logo, students helped us design the new platform. We were really pleased that within 2 months of the new website launching, we won the Union Cloud for Best FE Website. So within a month, we'd already you know, won that, and that was up against some real stiff competition. Our apprentice, Adam, who Brian talked about in our structure, that's part of his role. So he's actually developing his skills as an apprentice, and he's developed a lot of skills around keeping the website up to date. We have dedicated portals. We mentioned our Voice Our College Weeks, the conference, and loads of different ways in which we can engage for actually a relatively small amount of money. Studentfirst.org.uk, go and have a look at it. If we had more time, me and Brian could probably talk for 4 hours on Student First, but do have a look at it. The link's there, studentfirst.org.uk. It brings us round to questions now. You know, feel free. I don't know if the chat function's on, Lisa. I think it probably is, but if it's not, use the chat function, or let's, you know, any questions that you'd like for Brian and I. We've got about 5 minutes or so, so more than happy to answer those. But as I say, a real whistle-stop tour, half an hour, never gives Student Voice justice, but it's the best we could do. So
no,
hopefully
it's amazing. Thank you both very much indeed for sharing that. I think one of the most interesting things is it's quite a very different approach, isn't it, to the traditional approach, and it's worked really well for you guys. Yeah. So everyone on the forum, and do you have questions you want to ask Lloyd or Brian about their approach whilst they've got 5 minutes before they have to leave us? So any questions? I'm just keeping an eye on the chat. I think everyone's probably blown away at the moment. Who attends the conference, all or just student reps?
Shall I tackle that? We've moved away from student reps, so we don't have a thing as student reps. All of our students are representatives of their own views and their views of the wider college. So we would invite all of our students, every single student. We could have had 10,000 students attend our conference, and we did have that discussion actually, what would have happened, because teams probably would have collapsed. But yeah, so we don't have reps, so everybody was invited.
Okay, so we've got a couple more questions coming in. The first is, what is involved in your social responsibility days?
Yeah, so our social responsibility days are around volunteering, green impact, community action, community kind of like basically getting the best out of the community. So what we do is we do, at the moment we are because obviously this year has been a different year, this year we started to look at different ways of doing it. So for example, this year we've got a lot of kind of mental health charities, we've got a lot of kind of local companies that are doing kind of really good green stuff, as well as some other organizations in the local area that do volunteering in different kind of areas, that we are then showing these opportunities to students in order for them to then volunteer, help out and do a bit of community action. We would then contact these companies, find out if there's been much of a increase, so that we've got a bit of data on how that has happened. Now, obviously this year, because it's been slightly different, we have been telling them about these opportunities, but obviously these opportunities haven't necessarily been there. But we're hoping that by still showing them what these opportunities are, we would then have they would then have the skills and knowledge to then go out and get these opportunities when things open back up.
Thank you, Brian. Lloyd, there is a number of questions in here, and
we're okay. We've got another 5 minutes.
Okay.
We've done our encroach
Right.
on new leagues. We're due in something at 20 to 1. So
perfect. Okay, so let's try and get through some of these.
Yeah, of course.
As previously, guys, I will take questions and try and create a sort of document to respond. For the next one, your apprentice. What type of apprentice are they? What's their apprenticeship?
Business management level 3.
Business management. It's a great way to help with staffing, isn't it? And an opportunity for a student.
Absolutely.
So, business level 3, brilliant. What award body did you win Best FE website through, and how do you enter?
Union Cloud. Now, Union Cloud is the platform that Student First is now hosted from. So so basically it's drawn from everyone who has a Union Cloud platform.
Okay, fantastic. So Union Cloud, we'll try and share a link to maybe something on that in the chat for you guys.
We can do that.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Next question. Do you have dedicated social media channels for student engagement, or do you use general college social media channels?
So on you go, Lloyd.
We've created our own around support. So the director around support and engagement is student experience. So there is a separate channel for support and engagement other than college official channels, and Brian and the team manage that. So if we want to message around any support concerns or anything like that, we rebranded as student experience, and that's the social media that we use.
Brilliant, thank you. When you say Student Voices timetable, what does that look like? Sorry if I missed the detail.
So basically, our personal development tutors, who are our kind of like, they are the pastoral kind of setting within the curriculum. So they have a dedicated team that deliver one session per week to our students. So what we do is we take an entire week, which means that we see every single student through the personal development tutors in that week. So we would then have a presentation that we would then deliver to those students. They would then fill out the survey, which would then give the feedback that we need for that week.
Thank you very much. I think this is probably a question for Lloyd. How did you get senior management to buy into such a big change in approach?
Took some time and took some building of confidence. I mean, I've been at the college for 15 years, so I kind of played a bit on that, if I'm honest. Brian was new in role and came with a wealth of experience from an HE institution. So we used that experience. We also got students on board. So myself, Brian, and the then president presented it to the board and SLT. And to be brutally honest, if you involve students and it's coming from student voice, it's a very difficult corner to get out of if it's led by students. So that would be my piece of advice. So
I was going to say, I would absolutely support that. CCG is the same thing. You know, if students are saying it, then it's very difficult to move away from. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very much for that. I'm interested in the question, but there's so many other questions, Lloyd, I might have to ping it to you. My question would be, you've got amazing engagement without having reps, but how do you ensure the spread of that engagement? Do you look at who is engaging in from curriculum area backgrounds, adult backgrounds, etc., and then target those groups that you're not getting involved?
Absolutely. Behind all of this is an engagement tracker, which Brian absolutely loves. And for each event and each piece of engagement that we do, we spend a little bit of time just reviewing what was the engagement is the first question, what groups engaged from which curriculum areas, and then Brian and the team can go in and do a bit of work. If, you know, for example, construction didn't get involved as much with the conference, right, we've got a social responsibility day, let's go and work with construction to get some of those thoughts about how we can engage those students more. So yeah, really dynamic, and we review each piece of engagement we do through a tracker.
Fantastic, thank you. There's so many questions, Lloyd. I'll try and pick a couple more, and then what I might do is just ping them to you after this meeting. If you can give me a response, then I'll share them with any questions in the later session with everybody on the call. Do you record qualitatively or quantitatively through conference? Is it similar to cross-college survey, which then formulates focus groups?
We do both. So for us, one of the key measures is not just the volume. So we do monitor that, how many representative areas are there, but it's also the quality, what actually is going to make a difference to the college and to the student experience. So we monitor both. It's not just one, but I guess we demonstrated through this presentation that we are getting the wider impact of a cross-college model, and I suppose that's why there was a bit more focus on the data, but there is a whole piece of quality behind it that monitors actions, how relevant they are to improving the whole experience for our students.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to give you one more question and then I'll let you go because I know you've got to be somewhere else. This question comes from Andrew at Canterbury College. What challenges around cooperation with curriculum colleagues competing for timetable time for the days of curriculum?
Never an easy one. What a question to end on. That's, you know, I'm sure we're not alone. There is a challenge with curriculum colleagues, and that's partly my role and Brian's role to win them over. And it's about demonstrating the value to them as learning managers or directors of curriculum that actually come alongside. And Brian's done a huge piece of work around that. We've done a lot of work in demonstrating what is the value for those curriculum staff. It's not just about the students, but actually we can add value. If you want to start a new course or you want some feedback on X, let's get the student voice model in your area working so we can provide that. So yeah, cooperation is the biggest challenge. I'm not going to lie. It takes the most resource in trying to make it work, but my encouragement always will be don't give up, even though it feels sometimes like you may be hitting your head against some traditional cohorts that are more difficult to engage, because it will come good in the end.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you ever so much, Lloyd. I could talk to you all day. I'm sure there's so many things I'd like to say.
Absolutely.
And maybe we'll pick up some of that as we develop this work for NAMS further.
Absolutely.
Because Lloyd, I know you're NAMS regional convener for the Southwest as well. So
yeah.
On behalf of NAMS and on behalf of everyone on the call, Brian and Lloyd, thank you ever so much for sharing today. Brian, if I could ask you to stop sharing your screen, and I thank you both. I know you've got to go, so thank you ever so much, and hopefully we'll hear more in the future.
Brilliant. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much for having us.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right, so that was a whistle-stop tour into one approach, but now we're going to share another approach. Now, you've obviously all heard me a lot as we've begun these student engagement forums, so I thought that it would be really nice for you to hear from my student experience team here at Chichester College Group. And actually, I can see my boss has also joined online to share how important our student voice is. So Vicky Illingworth is principal of Crawley College and a member of our group leadership team, and I report into her. And Vicky's with us. Hello, Vicky.
Hi, Lee. Sorry, I can't change my Zoom name and it's left over from a family quiz last week. Apologies, but welcome everybody. I'm really pleased that the guys have got the opportunity to share some of the amazing stuff they've been up to, and I hope you find it beneficial. It's really important to us at Chichester College Group that we place this at the heart of what we do to make sure that our students get the experience that they deserve. So hopefully the team will be able to share some nuggets that you can take away today.
Thanks, Vicky. So I'm going to hand over to Mickey Day and he'll introduce the team, and then they're going to share with you our approach to student voice. So Mickey Day, over to you. You're in charge.
Oh dear, do you know what you've done? Hi everybody, my name's Mickey. I'm the and we're going to kick off just by saying Beth's going to share the presentation with you, who's part of my team. Hopefully that you'll all be able to see that really shortly. Okay. We're just going to talk about the student union structures, how they've been designed and adapted to maximise our impact and engagement. And we're going to kick off by showing you what that looks like in really by a little video that was a celebration of our student execs and everything we did last year. This video was before we'd opened our Haywards Heath College and before our rebrand earlier this year, but it gives you a real feeling for how excited the students get about our student voice process. How are we doing, Beth? Okay, here we go.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Working for the outstanding, so making sure they be the best person, as you said, be outstanding in who they can be, you know, make sure they have the best experience at their college.
Come on, yes, I'm student exec. I'm approachable, so come be sociable. Your opinions matter, so come for a chatter. Bring your diversity and tackle adversity, or even help you if you want to go to university. We are kind, so speak your mind. We cater to everyone, great and small, so come to our open day and come say hey. We are CCG, we are the student exec. If you need help with anything, we'll get you set. We are CCG!
I could not be happier with our Ofsted result, and it's thanks to you, the students. We wouldn't be outstanding without you.
Crawley.
what a journey we've been on. Over the last 2 years, Crawley SU have worked so hard with students, reps, exec and staff to project student voice across the college. And this result just shows how amazing it really is to be at Crawley. It really is outstanding.
So worthy, we're outstanding. This means we can continue to push student voice further and harder than it's ever been before. This is only our first step. I'm proud.
Outstanding.
As you can see, they had an amazing year. That was the year of our Ofsted Outstanding. So that was their celebration of that moment. And to show you how important student voice is to those learners. A couple of introductions. My name's Mickey Day. I'm the Senior Student Experience Champion, and I manage the Student Experience team across the group. That consists of Beth Hutchinson, who works at our Crawley College, and Chelsea Hobson, who works at Haywards Heath and Worthing. And I'm going to introduce Chelsea, and she's going to talk to you about the structure of our student union. Is she on?
I unmuted it on my laptop and not actually on Zoom. Sorry, everyone. You think here I'd have learned, wouldn't you? So firstly, we have Lisa, who you all know, who is our Group Director of Student Services and Pastoral Support. Someone has to be responsible for the function of the student union and make sure that it follows legally binding constitution and act as returning officer in any SU election. That role also belongs to Lisa as the nominated student liaison officer for the group, and she has an overarching responsibility for the student union and everything it does. As deputy student liaison officers, the student experience team manage the day-to-day activities and stand in for the SLO in all formal student union meetings. We support the SU officers and the student executive as advisors and mentors to achieve the goals that they set them for themselves at the beginning of each academic year. We have a lead SU officer at each college. So we have a student president at Crawley, Chichester and Worthing, and have a vice president at Haywards Heath and Brinsbury. These are elected in a student vote at the end of the academic year for the following year from members of the current student executive that wish to stand. They have to run a campaign overseen by the SLO and DSLOs. The student president is supported by a vice president and a secretary. These are our SU officers, and they lead our team of student leaders or student executive. Each college has a team of student exec who nominate themselves for the role from our student reps at our first student conference. And finally, we have our student reps. Every class has 1 or 2 student reps, which are voted in during the 3rd week of college. Student voice is at the heart of everything we do, right up to our senior management. So we know that student voice succeeds where senior managers understand the value of listening to students. It is the support we get at the highest level that underpins the work that we are able to do. It is all about hearts and minds, and throughout this we will show you quotes from our senior managers to show you the investment that they have in the student union. Firstly, we have Sheila LeGrave, who is our Chief Executive Officer of Chichester College Group, and Sheila says, student voice is at the heart of everything we do within the Chichester College Group. Listening to our students is one of the reasons we are outstanding.
So our engagement with students starts right before the year begins. In summer, we send everyone, both new and returning students, a welcome pack. And this contains lots of information about the student union, including information on becoming a student representative, a student exec, our upcoming trips, volunteering opportunities, Freshers Week, special offers, and lots more. In the first week of the new term, we will host our big welcomes. This is where every student is welcomed by senior managers and the incoming student president, an important platform that sets the tone for the year. We then run our Freshers Fair, and the SU showcases what it does with some fun, as well as inviting college services and local and national businesses to show what they can do for our learners and chuck in some freebies, of course. In the first 2 weeks of college, we run our dedicated SU days, where we promote all the SU has to offer. We share information about how to become a rep and an exec, for example. In week 3, we ask all curriculum areas to facilitate an election to be for student reps. And this happens for each group on each course. These are then registered with the student union by the end of that week. And then we can compare the list with each course so we know which reps we have where. This is to ensure that everybody is represented, and we aim for 100% every year, but most often can show about 96% of courses having representation. Student reps are then asked to collect information from their peers on their experience of college so far. In week 5, we hold our first student conference of the year, where every registered student rep is invited to join us. We run some fun activities, do some group work on key issues, feed them, of course, and ask for volunteers for our student executive. And we also ask for their feedback during open forum. They raise issues as diverse as food prices, Wi-Fi speed, and the environmental impact. And we record each issue. The senior managers at each conference will answer all the questions they can, and these answers are also recorded. But where answers require further investigation, we will take them away and find an answer, reporting back to the student reps and senior managers through our comprehensive "You Said, We Did" report. We register attendance at conference as enrichment so that we can show which areas engaged in the student union process when given the opportunity. We report back to the curriculum so that they can see where the work needs to be done to support their engagement. The student executive volunteers are then invited to a training day, and the execs are then formed of those who attend. This session is run by all senior managers who explain everything from how the college works as a business to the quality process that the student exec are a key part of. So student conference isn't the only time that we gather feedback. The student executives meet each week and work on their key focus action plans, which are a set of goals they have agreed on that they see as issues the college needs to work on. This year, for example, we have fundraising targets, community engagement, and the environmental issues that the exec can make a contribution to. The execs also attend a termly student committee where they report back on their work to the governors and senior managers and discuss key topics that are affecting the college or students. And the governors provide an update to the students on any issues they are addressing. Recent topics have included the group's mental health and wellbeing strategy. Our student execs also attend a termly student conference to help support the SU in gathering feedback and bringing feedback of their own. Student reps attend a termly area representative meeting with their curriculum. The curriculum lead is there and chaired by the SU president. This allows curriculum areas and reps to gather specific feedback on issues in their area and help identify issues and address them. The minutes of these meetings are held by the SU, and progress is tracked on these issues across the 3 meetings across the year.
As you've heard already, students are at the heart of everything we do, and the student voice is the golden thread that runs through everything. Their voice is heard in every decision that the college makes, and every student has the opportunity to be involved in all that the student union has to offer. Governors are a big stakeholder in the student union. Our student presidents are also student governors, and they sit on the board and make sure they represent the students in all high-level decisions. Senior managers across the group have so much investment in the SU and continually support us in everything we do. Student voice is valued and welcomed. The quality team also involves students in the quality cycle. Our student presidents will actively be involved as part of our self-assessment reporting, and our student executive attend a license to observe training that enables them to work hand in hand with our quality team to assess the standards of delivery in an observed lesson. Students are also invited to attend interview panels for new staff members at all levels across the group. Curriculum fully understand that listening to student voice is key to their success. Where we know academic study is vital to success, curriculum also support the idea that it's not the qualification alone that leads to that success. And so they support the student union in its activities to provide other opportunities to develop skills in our learners. It's really important that the curriculum are in full support of the SU. This helps with the engagement levels of all students. We work really hard to support our internal community, engage with the wider external community. Local community work does not only give those extra opportunities to our students, but it improves their image as young people and increases our engagement within college, ensuring a bigger impact. We've worked with Ofqual on grading this year and West Sussex County Council on their planning for young people's health services to address post-pandemic issues. Our learners engage with local charities, from regular senior citizens tea and conversation sessions supported by the SU to fundraising and food collection to addressing national issues like Elf Day for Alzheimer's and our Donate to Dare campaign for comic relief, which resulted in the red head you see before you. Okay, and here's another Hearts and Minds quote from Sally Challis-Manning, Principal of Brinsby College and the Group Deputy Principal for Quality. If I didn't listen to our students, I wouldn't be doing my job. Our students are involved in everything we do, from interviewing new staff to lesson observation, fundraising and our self-assessment process. Whenever I have visitors from other colleges, they're always in awe of how students are an intrinsic part of our college community culture.
So the impact that we have on our students and college community is really important to us, making sure that we give students the best possible college experience. So we have split impact into 3 areas today: the community, personal and physical. So here we have a quote from our student president at Crawley College, Ria. On a weekly basis, I have worked very closely with my student executive. Seeing them come out of their shells, grow and develop core skills was amazing to see. And to be on that journey with them as I grew and developed these skills too was heartwarming. Something that really sticks with me is our weekly football club, where we see foundation learning students and mainstream students playing together and helping each other, working as a real team. So the impact for our community is really down to our student executive and the hard work that they do for all students and our external community. We run 3 Respect the Environment weeks throughout the year. They spend their breaks litter picking around campus, ensuring that it's a clean and tidy environment for their fellow students. They run a host of charity events throughout the year. One of our favourites this year was definitely Elf Day, which we fundraised for our Charity of the Year, Alzheimer's Society, where we had staff and students from across the group dressed as elves. We also work very closely with our local community, doing food bank collections at Christmas, our Easter egg appeal, and volunteering at a local homeless shelter. But finally, our biggest impact is that on our students, the direct impact on them. We have examples here where our SU officers were doing vlogs, welcome back videos, and videos to get students through lockdown. They also completed a video showing students how a COVID test would work and how the COVID testing centres at our colleges were working to put them at ease.
The student union also has a massive impact on the students personally. And here we have a quote from Sophie, who's the president at Chichester, about how the SU has helped her. Sophie says, "My knowledge of the college group grew as a result. I was able to review proposals and give my opinion to the college managers with the confidence to say something controversial or question the information given. I have developed my people skills and problem solving, learned how to formulate reports and presentations. I feel like I have become more creative and intuitive. The skills I have learnt while being president will help me in any career I pursue. I couldn't be happier with all that I've got from my time in this position." And we've spoken about how important it is for the curriculum to be involved and support the student union. Here is a quote from Kirsty, our Deputy Head of Learning at Crawley for our foundation programmes 14 to 16 and ESOL. Kirsty says, "The student rep system works wonders. Students learn that they have a voice and that their opinion matters. I watch how their confidence grows and self-esteem rises. I have seen students join us as very anxious and quiet young people and grow into confident young people because of the SU's work. They are happy to speak in front of groups, show visitors around on open evenings, take control of a class to ask their opinions before attending area rep meetings. Student voice is totally inclusive and our students can apply to be on the student executive and have the same chance as all the other students."
So student voice isn't just measured and reported on through attendance and engagement. You can see the evidence of changes led by students around you, from the improvements in services that result from conference feedback. The Wi-Fi is better in B block, or the hot water is now working in the changing rooms, and our learners know that if you raise it with the SU, then it will be addressed. Staff are selected using feedback from learners, so staff experience the power of student voice even before they start working with us. And the group listened to feedback and actively respond. Our environmental and sustainability group developed as a response to student feedback and questions on what we are doing to ensure our impact on the environment is minimised. We're working on that now. So another quote from one of our principals who's on the call with us, Vicky Illingworth: working with our students helps us to gain really valuable, insightful feedback to support decision making, improve our understanding and contribute to a rich, vibrant and inclusive community in all our CCG colleges.
So how does this all come together? So for us, broad representation is so important. We ensure that we have a broad representation throughout our student union. And this is done by every class having a student rep and not putting boundaries in place. Anyone can join in, ensuring that the process of becoming a student rep and a student exec is easy and accessible for all. By having this broad representation of students, it helps increase our engagement across the college. We know who our target audience are, making sure everything that we do is for the students and that we have an impact on all students. Our student executive are engaged in everything the college does. We have given examples throughout this presentation, but by ensuring students are involved with any decision the college makes that affects them, helps to create that real community. We ensure that we monitor and analyse everything that we do so that we are continually improving. We speak to the students and see what their thoughts are and how we can get more engagement and better impact. For example, the You Said We Did. After each conference, we give a report back to curriculum so that they can see how their representation is in their area. This is also shared with our group directors and our governors. We need to make sure that we are giving every student every possibility and opportunity to feedback about their experience at college. Make sure that they have a voice and that they know they have that voice. This is key to higher engagement. We collect feedback through meetings and conferences, but we also ensure that we give them an update to their feedback. But the most important thing for us is that student voice and the student union is that golden thread. We have found that this really helps our engagement and make sure we have that lasting impact on all of our students.
Thanks, guys. So if you've got any questions, we are ready to answer as best we can.
Thank you very much, Chelsea, Beth and Mickey. You can stay. I won't make you work for Easter. You can have the week off now. You've done a very good job. Well done. Beth, can you please stop sharing your screen so I can see everybody?
Of course. And
then what I can do is we're happy to answer questions about our approach, and I'll let either the teams or myself answer those questions. And maybe this is to Mickey and Beth more, because I don't think Chelsea's done this yet, but who's new to the team. How do you attract bigger external companies to attend freshers? Usually the marketing teams of companies advise us to approach local franchises. We used to get bigger brands, but we now find it more difficult. How have you got involved? I mean, obviously this year was a bit different because we didn't actually do a freshers fair, did we? I mean, I'll take the first part of that question. I mean, one of the things we do is cultivate those relationships throughout the year. So we get a lot of approaches to promote things to our students or to get involved in local stuff. And what we'll say is, well, we quite like you to do that, but if you come to our freshers, then we will provide free advertising on our plasma screens or something like that so that we can actually entice them in. I think you have to look at your local demographics as well. You know, there is some national need, but you know, we had a problem a few years ago. I remember we were desperate to have some banks into freshers fair. You know, we wanted students to have that opportunity, but going local didn't give us much. You know, we weren't getting a response or they weren't coming back to us. So we went to actually national head offices and we looked for those engagement, those people responsible for doing that level of engagement. And we ended up with 3 banks that year actually sending their local branches to us. So I think it's a bit of a two-pronged approach. There's no complete answer, Dan, but we cultivate some relationships that they need us to promote to students and are mutually beneficial. We encourage, we directly go to some of the national offices to get student engagement and to think about, you know, it depends on your size. I mean, we're a very large organisation covering all of West Sussex, so we've got a bit of clout and if you like or bargaining chips in that scenario to be able to do that. I'm quite interested to see, coming out of the situation we're in, how much engagement. I think we'll see a lot of businesses wanting to promote to the student audience in September. And I think one of the things we would send out invites to Freshers' Fair in around the beginning of July time. And then we normally have several days so that the companies might not be able to make one day, but we can make another day. All right, so it's a bit of an approach. I mean, the other thing we could look at doing, I mean, one of the things I'm happy to do is share the sort of companies that attend our Freshers' Fair, because you might be able to then get some insight with them as to what, you know, other people that would go. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Anything else you want to know about that approach? Obviously, a very comprehensive job done by my team. What you can't see is you can see Mickey, and I'm actually sat at a desk in the other end of the room. So if I just lean a little bit that way or a little bit that way. So apologise if I keep looking like I'm looking around the room. Any other questions here? While I give you a chance to answer questions about our structured approach and how we do it, there's a couple of things. I've done a number of work, pieces of work recently, consulting for colleges on the student voice. One of the key things I'd say is, one of the things I never understand is while we elect officers in the same year you want to work them, one of the things that has been really successful for us is we get our presidents and vice presidents in place in June for the following year. So they're helping champion student voice from the moment we start term. We're not waiting for an election to take place. We've got those people in place. Do you have difficulty in getting apprentices to answer the student voice surveys if they're never based on site? They're really good at answering the surveys. We've tried to take it to another level in getting apprenticeship forums, which has proved difficult because of the exact reason. They're not on site. The engagement is difficult. What we do tend to see is curriculum areas who have apprentices on site on the days we run conference will naturally send their apprentices. So when we realised that, we then started to look at how we identify them in our forums and target them to say, will you become part of a group looking at apprenticeships in particular and how we can get them involved. We've also started doing some specific Microsoft form type feedback surveys for apprentices to try and get a better understanding. And in that survey, we asked for them if any of them are willing to be advocates for student voice in apprentices or apprenticeship voice. But like everyone, apprenticeships is a bigger challenge. Any more for any more? We're a little bit over time. I know some people are having to go. As always, if you have questions, please let me know. Thank you for joining us today. The next Student Engagement Forum, which is on the 7th of May, is going to look at how you train student leaders. And we're going to be sharing best practice of training student leaders to be most effective in your areas. Me and my team will stay on for 5 minutes if you want to ask us questions. In the meantime, for the rest of you, thank you all very much for joining us today. I look forward to the next Student Engagement Forum. And as always, please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. Have a fantastic Easter break. And on behalf of